What'd you think about the acting?
Acting was really
Hey everyone, this is Abnormal Japan, and today we're going to share our commentary on the recent Netflix horror movie In the Tall Grass.
We reacted to the trailer, which we will leave links in the iCard and the description as well, so go check that out if you haven't.
But before we get started, make sure you check out our podcast.
Yes.
We talk about all things Japan. We're on all major platforms, and of course, just check out the description. We'll have all the links. And yeah, let's just get started.
So part one, basic plot synopsis. There's going to be some spoilers as we talk about it, but what do you think of the movie from the start to finish, like plot synopsis? So this is how I would describe it if somebody asked you, right? Two people in a car, one's pregnant, they get stopped at the side of the road, and then all of a sudden they hear something and they get lost in this weird time loopy grass horror situation.
It's definitely weird. It has a basic trope of like basic person hears a noise, they go in, and then where you had like no business going into.
you really
know,
did.
That's
Why?
typical horror movie plot, and so it just happens to be where they just get lost and a lot of wild things happen in that grass. And there's like some spiritual stuff, there's a lot of like religion touches in there, and
like some cosmic horror. It's
and
really
a lot of time loops, but they're not that confusing. Like if you're paying attention from like the beginning to end, you should get it. It's no problem. Plot wise, I mean, it's basic, but it kept me engaged the whole time, so it wasn't too bad.
I feel like for me the plot was a little it was hard to tell when one thing switched to the next thing. And I feel like that might have been intentional, but that kind of threw me off a little bit. So like, for example, when they're going through the time loops in this big old like grass field, it's very difficult to separate what's happening from the next situation of events. And I feel like it kind of gets you in the place of where the characters are a little bit, but it was also kind of annoying. Do we see all the characters in the trailer?
I'm not too sure. I can barely remember that. We do see Becky.
Yeah, we see Becky.
Which is the main lady. She's pregnant. Then we see her brother, Cal.
Right.
Who's very obsessive with her. Like, at first you think that he's her boyfriend, or
because it's not clarified, so you're like, oh, that's okay.
And then she's like, oh, dad's gonna be so mad at us, and then you're like, oh, weird. Okay, that's her brother. But the whole time he's so obsessive in protecting her, and at first you think, oh, brotherly love, but then it's like, nah,
it gets
like
weird.
Oh, ew, dude, what the
he is so attached to anything that she decides or she does. We saw Tobin, the little boy that he's like
So 3 characters in the trailer. Do we see the dad, Tobin's dad?
Yes, we do. We see Ross.
Tobin's dad. That's main 4.
He's a guy from Hard Candy, so you can't really miss that.
He's
what other movie? He's in other movies.
Insidious. He's in Insidious. So when the two that get into the I always want to say the woods, into the grass.
It's like tall grass. Like,
it is. It's super tall. So those two go in from the beginning, and then we see like all the stuff that happens. Becky's ex, I guess.
Yeah, her baby daddy, Travis.
Right. He goes after them too. He gets stuck in the grass, not in the woods. And there's this big old rock that they stumble upon over and over and over again, and
that's the main thing, and it has like all this energy. And Ross, the dad, Tobin's dad, is obsessed with this rock, and he's like trying to get people to touch it, and he's like, if you touch it you can see everything. The grass sees everything and knows everything.
Right.
And then he says that weird line like,
all flesh is grass.
All flesh is grass.
I was like, he really said that.
And you're like, what do you mean, Ross?
Yeah, and it was very strange. And then some shit happens, and so he's now like the personification, and then he hunts them around a little bit, you know, your classic horror stories. The characters turn on each other, they fight, blah blah blah.
Yeah, he does say something about him feeling like the host is in him when he touches the rock. So in the movie, he's portrayed as whatever the spirit in the rock is.
Right. Maybe one of the loops is broken. We don't know if there's other loops.
Yeah, there's so many loops, and you could tell, you can kind of have an idea of how many loops there was when there's like a moment towards the end when Ross and Cal have a fight. Because like Ross is like chasing him in the grass after they finally make it to the bowling alley building.
Yeah.
And he just like beating him up, and then Cal looks to like the right and he just sees many versions of his dead body.
Yeah, and like the camera pulls back and you see all of them, so it's pretty wild.
Yeah, and then get ready to listen to like a lot of the grass and weird anonymous chants.
Oh my god, the ASMR is real. Like you hear, like you were saying, the grass, you hear breathing a lot.
Chewing.
The mud that's going on. And anytime there's like blood or anything like that.
Or when, that moment when Becky actually gave birth.
Oh god.
And like you see her obsessive brother, but it's not really her brother. It's just like
the spirit thing.
The spirit of the rock is like portraying itself as Cal, and he's like, "Oh yeah, look at your baby," like blah blah, and then it's blue. It's like not okay.
It's not.
And then he's like, "Eat, go ahead and eat," and then he's like, "Oh, this is just grass and seeds," and it's the baby.
He fed her own baby.
Yes.
Oh! That's
was
wild because earlier she was like, "Oh, I need food and water, man. I don't need this brotherly love, blah 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 blah." And so it's weird because he was like, "Here, drink some water. Here, have some food," and I was just like,
and it was just her baby.
That's a weird.
Yeah, so that was weird. What'd you think about the acting?
Acting was really
Something's not right about this. I think we should head back to the road.
I came looking for you. What?
I'm never gonna find her.
You can find things, but it's easier once they're dead.
Okay.
it was hit or miss. I really liked Ross, that dude. He did really,
he's
really
solid.
Well.
Like in a lot of movies, he's
he did really well. And I liked
Tobin was good. He was
the little boy. Little boy was really good.
He was good. He had a very good voice. Like he could probably narrate like a children's book or something.
Oh, for sure, for
sure.
sure.
He had a good voice.
Becky was okay.
She was a little weak on that front, and I hate to like criticize her because I know like often in commentary people will criticize women like a lot, but her character just kind of fell flat to me.
I feel like it was more the writing versus her interpretation.
They didn't give her enough opportunities. They gave her too much screaming. Like the whole movie,
I just thought about
screaming.
That.
Yeah,
she was either screaming or complaining.
Because there was a lot of loops and there was a lot of time going by. Like a whole 2 months happened. Like
we saw so much of Ross's character. We saw so much of Cal's character. We saw so much of Travis' character, so much of Tobin. We didn't really see much of what made Becky who she was, except that she was pregnant. That was her character.
But she was just kind of a damsel in distress. It
felt like her whole character was that she was pregnant.
And it didn't help because like her name Becky, it
was so funny.
I feel like they did her wrong, and I hate that they did that for her character.
And a lot of the, like you were saying, a lot of the screaming, I feel like she did a lot of that. And I think if her role was given more dialogue, maybe, versus just like, and I get it, she's pregnant, right? But I know pregnant women are capable of discussion versus just screaming.
That's true. And they can figure out how to do things for themselves.
Right. That was that.
What about the CG and the cinematics?
Right. I was gonna say,
the CG was a little flat.
The cinema work, like the camera stuff, was really good.
Yeah,
CG was not good.
No, those clouds, bro. Like, what was that? It literally looked like, I don't know, like watercolor, but very badly
they
done.
put a green screen and then they just did the red drop of water in the ink and they just put that on top. That's what it looked like. And then there's a weird bit towards the end where like the soil crumbles in front of the rock. And you see like all these like dead people or like half dead people.
I think it was dead babies.
It looked like babies. Or like some were grown, so like the babies had grown and maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, because she was about to give birth, Becky, and like she was right by the rock and the floor just opened up and it was just like screams and like I saw like baby-sized humans.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, what if like those were her other babies or something?
Yeah.
And like the different loops. So do you have any like theories as to why the rock is even there and like how the loops are happening. Because I was trying to see other than just like a basic like random rock, but I feel like they were trying to make it like native spiritual, but it was really poorly done.
Felt like it. Yeah, it was. Oh, it was here before the insert something, or before the insert something. Like,
and it was like in the middle of the continent, and it has all this stuff. And he did mention like a tribe at some point, and I was like, are they really doing this right now? Because
and it was weird because there was tribal looking people, like shirtless torsos.
Yeah, shirtless, and then they had like grass faces, and I guess they were grass.
That was really weird.
It was just weird. I was like, why is it like, because it was like very Christian focused, and
With
then
the
it
church,
was like all of a sudden, let's make it some like native spiritual, but like let's not research properly.
Right, and there was like carvings on the rock that
carvings
like it could be ancient or something like that. I took it as it was a cosmic horror kind of deal.
It's not bad. Like, it's something, like, watch it and you can be entertained, at least with the cinematics.
Yeah, and the sound, too.
Yeah, but don't expect to feel like, whoa, like...
Yeah.
I'm so thrown.
The trailer was scarier than the movie, actually, now that I think about it.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I think they did that on purpose, you know?
Yeah, I think they handled all of the directional stuff really, really well.
Yeah, so if you get to listen with headphones, because you can hear everything, especially if you love ASMR, just like sound detail, check it out. Otherwise, I mean, I'm sure it'll still come through pretty solid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what would you rate the movie?
I think, okay, so I'm gonna give it like 1 out of 5 for different bits.
Okay.
Right? CG, the grass people like face thing, that doesn't technically count to me because that's the only good thing. I give it like a 1 out of 5. How about you?
Oh, a 1 out of 5?
1 out of 5.
I'd give them at least like a 2.5.
Right. And
I love how that's not that much different, but like it was a little bit better than
half of 100. The only reason I say 1 is because from what I could tell, they used a lot of really interesting camera work, but the CG stuff, maybe they spent too much money on the cameras and not on the CG.
Yeah, true.
That's what it felt like to me.
I still give it like a 2.5.
All right, so let's see. Story. What do you give it? 1 out of 5. I'm gonna say 2.5 on this.
I would say 3.
Really?
Yeah,
okay, so not much more than mine.
There was a little bit of work, like with the whole loops, and it did connect.
Yeah.
You know, because oftentimes with like time, what is it called?
Time loopy.
Yeah, time loops and stuff like that. A lot of times there are loops, like literally, like you're like, hey, what actually happened? And I feel like it was all closed off for the most part. Nothing really stuck out to me. So I'd give it a 3 in that part. And I was able to understand it the whole way through.
Okay. What about the acting? I would say like a 4.
Yeah, I'd say a 4 as well.
Acting 4 for sure. Okay, cinematics. I say 4.5.
I say 4 again.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. You're not going to be disappointed. The color toning is really good. It's pretty stable.
There's some really interesting camera work too. Like spinny shots and stuff like that. Like it's actually very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So if you like this video, give us a thumbs up.
Please
and
do.
If you want to see more content of ours, just subscribe and also follow us on any of your favorite listening platforms for our podcast. We're mainly on there. We're just kind of testing YouTube right now. So if you have any suggestions for future movies you want us to react to.
Oh, yes. And this is a horror movie. We're doing horror movie Halloween month. So let us know what y'all want us to watch next time in the comments down below.
Yes. And a quick question. Would you have gone into the grass if you heard a kid crying? I don't know.
Pass. I'd probably drop a pin on Google Maps, like I said in the reaction, and then keep going.
I'd probably be that person that goes into the church and it's like, hey, anyone there? And then like something bad would happen to me. But I would not go into the grass. Like, oh no. But would you? Like, let us know.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Hit us on the socials, leave a like and comment and subscribe. And let us know, would you go in the grass?
All right, bye.
Bye.